It's Tuesday, May 21. In the headlines, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announces changes to his administration. In business news, the costs of clothing and footwear have gone up. Regionally, CIBC Caribbean reporting success with digital banking transition. And in sports, Jamaica to host T20 International Series against South Africa at Sabina Park. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has announced changes to the executive body of his administration. Senator Abka Fitzhenley is set to assume the role of Parliamentary Secretary in the office of the Prime Minister. Information Minister Robert Morgan is slated for reassignment to the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation with responsibility for works. The release on Monday also noted that Senator Dana Morris-Dixon will now oversee information, along with her existing responsibilities for skills and digital transformation. According to the release, the adjustments will assist the administration in more efficiently and effectively delivering its policies and programs for the Jamaican people. Workers' Week began on Friday, May 17 and culminates on Labor Day, Thursday, May 23, 2024. A Thanksgiving service was held on Sunday to kick off the week-long activities. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, spoke of the significance of the event. This year's focus is on persons with disabilities, the elderly and the vulnerable, with the accompanying theme, Ramp Up the Access, Show That You Care. Minister Grange says this signifies renewed commitment to ensuring fair access to the nation's resources.
It's a time designated for every Jamaican to participate in initiatives within our respective communities geared towards uplifting and enhancing lives.
Minister Grange says the national project will be located at the Institute of Jamaica in downtown Kingston.
This year's national project will be on improving accessibility to the Institute of Jamaica, which stands as our nation's oldest cultural institution in this part of the hemisphere. We will be constructing ramps and preparing for elevator installations, ensuring that everyone, including individuals with disabilities, the elderly, and the vulnerable, can easily access this vital cultural hub.
A Workers' Week Expo and a discussion forum related to the services and support for persons with disabilities and the vulnerable is slated for Wednesday, May 22 at Emancipation Park in Kingston from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The expo, which is one of several Workers' Week activities, will be held under the theme Advancing Special Needs for an Inclusive Labor Market. It is being spearheaded by the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. The Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, is concerned about the impact of the decision by the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, to discontinue certification for certain critical subjects. CXC has announced that it will no longer be awarding certification for mechanical engineering at the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate and Caribbean Advanced Proficiency levels. It has also indicated that it will no longer offer double award certification for agricultural science. JTA President Leighton Johnson is calling for the relevant stakeholders to outline measures to cushion potential fallout. Mr. Johnson has described the move as sudden and said the impact could be significant for the education system, students and teachers, as well as laboratory technicians. Jamaicans are encouraged to help raise funds for children with autism spectrum disorder by joining the Pediatric Association of Jamaica's 5K run on Sunday, June 23. During his remarks at the recent Child Month church service, Dr. Curtis Price, president of the Pediatric Association of Jamaica, revealed that as the association celebrates its 50th anniversary, the focus has shifted to the alarming prevalence of autism spectrum disorder, which now affects approximately 1 in 36 children globally. He emphasized that the theme for Child Month serves as an important reminder that the commitment to advocating for children's rights and welfare may extend beyond the designated observances. The 5K route, which is sponsored by the University of the West Indies, will take place at the UWI Ring Road Mona campus, starting at 6:30 a.m. Interested persons must register online at my.raceresult.com/280508/ with registration closing on June 20. Did you know that chronic lower back pain is a major cause of disability across the world, impacting people's physical capabilities, sleep, participation in work, school, and relationships? What kind of treatment should you ask for? Which treatments do not work? In this episode of Living Healthy, we learn how to manage your lower back pain from Dr. Yuka Sumi.
Did you know that chronic low back pain is a major cause of disability around the world? How big is this issue? What kind of treatment should you ask for? And how can you manage your pain? Here to talk about it is Dr. Yuka Sumi. Welcome, Yuka. Talk to us about chronic low back pain. How big is this issue?
Low back pain is a common experience. Our estimates suggest that in 2020, 1 in 13 people had low back pain. By 2050, even more people will be affected, especially in low and middle income countries where the population are getting bigger and people living longer. It is important to recognize that low back pain can affect people of all ages. Low back pain can badly affect your well-being and quality of life. It can impact your physical capacity, sleep, participation at school, work, at home, social life, and your relationships. That makes low back pain the leading cause of disability.
Is it inevitable that as we age, we will get low back pain?
No. We all can achieve healthy aging. Low back pain is not inevitable for everyone.
Talk to us about treatments. What kind of care should we ask for?
Treatment should consider your needs, values, and preferences. I'll give you examples. It might be important for you to pick up your grandchild, or go for long walks, or simply have a good night's sleep. The treatment should prioritize for you to do or to continue to do whatever that is important to you. Specific treatments might include effective self-care, physical therapies such as exercise and massage, psychological therapies that can help you to focus on what you can do, not on the pain, and anti-inflammatory medicine. We also have evidence of what does not work. For instance, manual therapies such as traction, or some electrotherapies such as ultrasound using electric current, lumbar braces, and some medicines that do not work, such as antidepressant and muscle relaxant.
Once one does have low back pain, does that mean you just have to live with it? Could you share some tips to manage this pain?
Even if you have a chronic low back pain, it is entirely possible for you to keep doing things that you love. Some key tips are: first, be confident in your spine and its ability to support your activities. Pain does not necessarily mean your spine is damaged. In fact, the spine is one of the strongest structures in our body. If you're unsure or need a guidance, see your health workers for advice. Secondly, learn how to manage flare-ups and pace yourself. Flare-ups can happen from time to time. They don't necessarily mean you are damaging your spine. Thirdly, continue or restart physical exercise gradually. Start at a low intensity for short time period. Being physically active can help you to cope with chronic low back pain. Finally, discuss your chronic low back pain openly with your healthcare workers, including your mental well-being and social context, so that they can help you to identify your suitable treatment options that you can agree on and that will work best for you.
Thank you, Yuka. That was Science in 5 today. Until next time then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stick with science.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, your guide through the latest happenings in the world of business. Investors seeking passive income from the stock market will tune into the latest 3 announcements from listed companies. Stanley Motor Limited has declared a dividend of 0.079 cents per stock unit payable on June 20, 2024 to all shareholders on record as at May 31, 2024. The ex-dividend date is May 31, 2024. Access Financial Services Limited has advised that the Board of Directors meeting previously scheduled for May 28, 2024 has been postponed to June 27, 2024. At this meeting, the directors will consider making a dividend payment to ordinary shareholders of the company. Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited has advised that a meeting of its board of directors will be held on Tuesday, May 28, 2024, to consider an interim dividend payment to shareholders. For investors seeking to earn more income from rising interest rates, several opportunities are currently open on the bond market. Currently, interest rates are in the double digits, and investors have a number of options. Mayberry Investments' new bond will be issued in 3 tranches totaling 2.25 billion Jamaican dollars with the ability to upsize to 3.37 billion Jamaican dollars. Tranche 1 will allow up to 750 million Jamaican dollars at 9.25% and matures in 13 months. Tranche 2 up to $750 million at 10% and matures in 26 months. And Tranche 3 up to $750 million at 10.5%, which matures in 36 months. And note, the requirement is a minimum of $20,000 to participate. Additionally, investors can earn income from interest rates paid on bonds from recent offerings such as credit union offerings, Sangster Airport food concessionaire Express Catering, and Government of Jamaica global bonds. The cost of clothes have gone up. Jamaicans face higher prices for apparel for the year to April 2024, according to news reports by RJR News. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says the average annual point-to-point inflation rate for the division was 3.4% for the 12-month period. For the month of April 2024 alone, the division of clothing and footwear moved upwards by 0.2%. The category faced mixed movement in prices, also shipping costs regulated. However, the cost for some raw materials increased. During trading for May 20, 2024, the following companies valued at 500 million Jamaican dollars or more in assets represent the overall volume leaders in terms of equity sales on the main market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Alternative energy provider Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 2,381,775 units amounted to 31.62% of the main market volume in terms of equity sales. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, with 1,108,379 units, amounted to 14.72% of the main market volume in terms of equity sales. Lasco Distributors Limited, with 1,096,657 units, amounted to 14.56% of the main market volume in terms of equity sales. During trading for May 20, 2024, on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the following companies represent the overall volume leaders in terms of sales of equity on the junior stock market, with companies valued at 50 million or more Jamaican dollars in asset value. Online education platform One-on-One Educational Services Limited, with 4,372,388 units, amounting to 44.01% of the junior market volume in terms of sales. Furniture and writing book distributor Stationery and Office Supplies Limited, with 2,008,949 units, amounted to 20.22% of the junior market volume in terms of sales. Hotel food and beverage distributor Everything Fresh Limited, with 908,181 units, amounted to 9.14% of the junior market in terms of sales. Over on the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, trading on May 20, 2024, registered a volume of 140,119 shares crossing the floor of the exchange, valued at 2,059,517 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 94 cents. Trinidad Cement Limited was the volume leader with 48,852 shares, changing hands for a value of 124,868 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 30 cents, followed by the West Indian Tobacco Company Limited with a volume of 34,584 shares being traded for 311,529 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 84 cents. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, we turn to the Forex market. On May 20, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $52.9 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $58.6 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $156.83 and bought the US dollar for $155.28. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.55, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $1.02 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $115.40 and bought for $114.38. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $7.64, selling it for $199.26 and buying it for $191.62. For our credit report tip of the day, if you have to wheel and come again because you've lost your job, it's important to stay proactive, particularly when it comes to maintaining and rebuilding your credit. It is important to communicate with your creditors. Do not feel afraid to pen to paper, write to your bank and explain your situation, document it. Many creditors offer hardship programs that can provide temporary relief, such as reduced payments or deferred payments. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, CIBC Caribbean has announced its triumph in the shift towards digital banking. CEO Mark St. Hill shared this exciting development during the bank's first Stars Award ceremony. 9 outstanding individuals from Barbados and neighboring regions were honored with Star Awards and welcomed into the CEO's Hall of Fame. St. Hill commended their dedication and contributions.
In CIBC Caribbean in 2024, 94% of transactions across the bank are now done digitally. Personal and business banking, online and mobile transaction volumes have increased by 27% year-on-year. Corporate online banking transaction volumes have increased by 11% year-on-year. And over-the-counter transaction volumes have decreased by 23% year-on-year. Say it with me, folks. We are winning. The first Star Award winners that we are honoring this evening are our bank's best examples of what happens when you display a winning attitude. I hope you listened carefully to the citations that were read before each awardee came up on the stage. There's a common theme. Besides excellence, which is a given, it was mentioned that each one showed a commitment to teamwork, which is a feature of our corporate values.
In the Bahamas, one umbrella trade union is calling on the government to cut the lip service and treat all trade unions equally. More from our news.
Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress President Belinda Wilson says they're just asking the government to follow the law.
We will not be deterred, and we know what our rights are, and we will continue to advocate and to agitate and to fight for our rights.
Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress President Belinda Wilson is accusing the Davis administration of being biased when it comes to trade unions and her newly formed Congress. Her comments come as the Davis administration touts more than 20 industrial agreements signed and completed since taking office. Wilson pointed to the Bahamas Union of Teachers' unregistered industrial agreement as one of the selling points. The agreement was signed 2 years ago. Wilson says she's written to the Prime Minister on the matter, but still hasn't gotten any movement.
So what our expectation is, because I would have written to the Prime Minister, so I would think that the Prime Minister would be able to ensure that his subordinate ministers, permanent secretaries and directors would follow his instructions. But it seems as though no one listens to the Prime Minister. They do what they want to do and when they want to do it.
The Bahamas Public Services Union, which is also a part of the Congress, recently called on the Prime Minister to intervene amid unpaid salary increases for its members. Wilson says all they want is for the government to do the right thing.
So what we want is, we want them to follow the law. The law speaks to them, treating and meeting with us. And I must say, though, the quarterly meetings with the Minister of Labour, those have been going very well.
In Trinidad and Tobago, local steel pan manufacturers are concerned about the dwindling human resources needed to produce the country's national instrument. They say the solution is not as simple as it seems and could affect exports in the long run. More in this Business Inside report.
After you reach there, to tune it. That is the trouble.
President of Panland TNT, Michael Cooper, said producing steel pans involves two major skills: the fabrication of the physical pans, which can be easily taught, and the tuning, which he said is underestimated.
The tuning, however, that requires a different kind of thing, different kind of input, a different kind of training methodology and time and resources.
This is what he said has been severely lacking in the local industry, and with the lack of technical expertise, this could hamper potential exports.
Anytime there's a significant increase in demand, we would be in trouble. Even locally, we're in trouble. Because the industry is being supplied by a number of people, and there are skills, there are certain skills that are in limited supply, and they are not far from being stretched as we speak.
And Director of Business Development at the Musical Instruments of TNT Midco, Akua Leith, said while the long-term plan by launching a manufacturing facility at the Russell Atterbury Secondary School could lead to increased human resource, the issue is keeping them in the industry.
Yeah, Midco for sure, we are doing our part. We set up the infrastructure. We need support in getting persons trained. So the apprentice training is necessary. Hence, we are coming in and support at Russell Atterbury School and getting the students introduced to steel pan manufacturing. But human resource is the biggest concern, and that's where we need to put a lot of our energy.
But Mr. Cooper said foreign companies producing steel pans have returned to local pan companies for their supply.
They actually have reverted to Trinidad and Tobago for supply and contractual arrangements to supply their demand in the US. So it has come back. You know, it started here, then they tried to do it, realize that it's not as simple as it seems.
Mr. Leith said government programs to encourage steel pan manufacturing would fill the gap eventually, but urged government and the private sector to ensure people with these skills can see a viable future in the industry.
One of the things we'll be plagued with is getting proper teachers and having the Ministry of Education coming in and giving that support from that end. But once we start to make steel pan manufacturing a viable career path, more things along that line will start unfolding in our society.
In sports, the Cricket West Indies selection panel has announced the squad for the upcoming T20 International Series against South Africa. This significant series preceding the ICC Men's T20 World Cup starts on Thursday, May 23 at the iconic Sabina Park. The squad has been gearing up for this exciting and highly anticipated series with a training camp held at Coolidge Cricket Ground in Antigua. AC Port of Spain are the 2023-2024 Trinidad and Tobago Premier Football League champions after defeating Heritage Petroleum Point Fortin Civic, while runners-up Miscellaneous Police FC secured their spot in the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup.
It was the final round of action in the Trinidad and Tobago Premier Football League as the title race went down to the wire, with contenders Miscellaneous Police FC taking on Central FC, knowing a police victory, along with an AC Port of Spain defeat, would see the lawmen crowned champions. The action began when the central defender missed the ball, which fell to Kareem Freitas, whose shot went over the bar. The lawmen would come again, when the experienced Joven Jones came close to catching the central goalkeeper off his line. The teams were going level at the break, knowing that AC had one hand on the trophy, with a 1-0 half-time score. Knowing the stakes, police came into the second half looking to break the deadlock, if not for some amazing heroics from the central keeper and defense. Freitas threatened the opposition goal again, with his header just missing the mark. The pressure would continue to mount when Jones was at it again from distance. Police would eventually have their moment when this powerful strike from Jones found the back of the net in the 75th minute to make it 1-0 for the lawmen. Police would hold on for that 1-0 victory over Central FC to secure second place and gain qualification to the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup after their hopes faded despite the victory. Over at the Jamaica Sporting Complex, it was celebration time in Point Fortin as AC Port of Spain, who came short of winning the title last season, defeated Heritage Petroleum Point Fortin Civic by 3-0, thanks to goals from Dwayne Muckett, Nate Lewis, and Michael Poon Angaron to see the Capital Men claim the title as TTPFL champions. Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks so much for watching.